Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your
Found anything yet?
Photo News Fix. This fix is brought to you by Fro366, which is sponsored by Canon. Last year, Canon sponsored me giving away 365 prints, all printed on the Canon ImagePrograph Pro 1000 inkjet printer. This year, they are at it again and sponsoring Fro366.
Here we go!
The reason it's called Fro366 this year is it's a leap year, so I get to give one more print away. For full sweepstake rules and to get entered for free, head on over to canon.us/Fro366. First up, let's start off with some Nikon news since we haven't really heard a peep from them in over a month.
Well, I've been working on my music.
Nikon has released a firmware update for the Nikon D780, which I haven't sniffed or wind tunnel tested because I don't have one and I haven't used one, that corrects one potential major issue. Now, the issue is where some SD cards, and I meant to do this for some SD cards, would not work inside of the camera. Now, Nikon didn't say which card brand, but over on the DP review forum, which is only populated by men over the age of 55, aka people that have had a prostate exam,
I want a proctologist standing by.
a user shared their experience with new Lexar cards bringing up errors during their wedding shoot. Now, Lexar used to be one of our sponsors, and we still do use some of the old Lexar cards that were manufactured before they sold the business. Now, these days, I personally wouldn't use the new Lexar cards because I can't trust them because I trusted the old Lexar manufacturing.
But why do they put a guarantee on the box then?
I've invested in both SD and CF Express cards from Sony as well as ProGrade, and when it comes to transferring files to the computer, I love the ProGrade readers. Now, in the second bit of Nikon news that Madeline K could not verify just yet, this story comes from DIY Photography, who said Nikon Japan has shifted the $5,700 200mm f2 lens to discontinued. Now, discontinuing this lens sort of makes sense being that it was released a decade ago.
10 years, man!
In fact, I reviewed that lens at Alan's Camera over 10 years ago.
10 years!
And here's a video clip to prove it.
Ready to unbox the very first Nikon 200 f2 version 2.
Ah, memories.
Like the corner of my mind.
That guy had small arms. Now, I personally never owned this lens because it was just too big, well, too expensive also, and it took up too much space in my bag when I traveled. But if size and weight were not an issue, I would have loved to have broken this lens out for more than just portraits, like concerts and photojournalistic stuff, because this was one of the greatest lenses I've ever used. With this lens on its way out, will Nikon make a Z version one day? I'm not sure, but if I were a betting man, which I'm not, I bet Canon will have an RF version out before Nikon. Next up, with pretty much the whole world on lockdown, you would assume that camera sales were going to be way down. But au contraire, camera sales were way up.
Really?
No, not really. CIPA is showing a 53% drop in camera shipments in the US and a 58% drop in interchangeable lens cameras. DSLRs were hit the most, with shipments dropping some 66% compared to March of 2019, while mirrorless cameras didn't drop as much but still dropped 46%. To put this more into perspective, Canon's profits from their imaging division are down 80% in Q1 and are only going to get worse. Clearly, we all know why this is happening. And if it's happening to Canon, it's probably happening to Nikon, Sony, and everyone else in the camera world. But not Pentax. Not Pentax, because they're actually doing well, because they don't sell enough anyway.
Oh, sick burn.
Hopefully we get through this as quickly as possible. But even if the world opens up in the next 3 months, don't expect all of a sudden that tons of people are gonna run out there into the world and spend their money on camera gear. Now, will you be spending your money on camera gear the way I just said it? Let me know down below. And finally, what might be the first bad news for the Canon EOS R5, Canon Rumors is saying that they've been told that we might not see the camera ship until, at the earliest, July.
Makes me want a hot dog real bad.
And if they do come in July, they might be in super low quantities. But there is some good news here. because we'll get test units before all of you. Who wrote this? That's mean. Oh yeah, that's right, I did, because I thought it was funny. Now, since this is just a rumor, I decided to check with a few of my sources to see if they could shed any more light on this information. First, I checked with my source inside of Canon Sweden, and here's a direct quote. Borka, 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 Borka. Seriously? The Swedish f***ing chef? Why am I looking? It's empty over here. Nobody else is here, it's just me. Next, I checked with my source inside of Canon Canada, and here's what they had to say.
You, buddy.
I even decided to check with Madeline K at Nikon, and here's what she had to say. That R5 seems like it's going to be a really impressive camera. Great, thanks Madeline, that wasn't what I was asking. I bet you're gonna get fired. Canon rumors also mention that the R6 is still supposed to be announced in May. Now, there hasn't been much info about what the R6 might be, but if past naming schemes tell us anything, along with the R5 being part of the same lineup as the 5D, then the R6 most likely will be like the 6D line. So when will Canon share the photo specs, pricing, and release date? My guess is we will finally know something officially in the next 45 days.
You're right on the money there.
And there you have it. That's your photo news fix this time around. To check out the last fix, go ahead and click on the screen right here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.